The Silverwood Sanctuary glowed under a Colorado dawn, its pine-dotted hills bathed in soft gold, the air sharp with frost and earth. The sanctuary's clinic hummed with urgency, fluorescent lights casting stark shadows on concrete floors. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair pulled tight, work dress creased, stood over a crate, her weathered hands trembling. 3 bobcat cubs, each barely a fistful of spotted fur, huddled inside, their tiny bodies shivering, eyes dull. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek, sat nearby, amber eyes fixed on the cubs, a silent sentinel in the chaos. Grace's voice was low to Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp. "They're fading, Lucas. Won't eat." Lucas's voice was grim, checking a cub's pulse. 4 weeks old, max. Trauma's killing them. Their mom didn't make it. Grace's voice cracked, rubbing her brow. "Poachers found them at a truck stop, half dead." The cubs, rescued from illegal trade, were failing fast, their mews faint, a plea no one could answer. Grace's voice was a whisper. "I've tried everything." Outside, Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair loose under a hoodie, pressed her nose to the clinic window, voice soft. "They're so little." Her dad, a sanctuary keeper, had brought her today, her curious heart drawn to the cubs. Rex's ears flicked, his massive frame shifting, amber eyes locking on Sophie, a K9 guardian sensing her grief, inspired by real tales of dogs soothing the broken. Grace's voice was sharp, spotting her. "Sophie, stay back." Sophie's voice was faint, stepping closer. "They're sad, Ms. Harper." The clinic buzzed, volunteers murmuring, the cubs' plight a weight on all. Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket worn, burst in, voice urgent. "Grace, I've got an idea." Grace's voice was weary, turning. "What now, Emma?" Emma's voice was eager, clutching a file. "Rex, he's a rescue, just weaned his pups. He could mother them." Grace's voice was sharp, incredulous. "A dog?" "For bobcats? That's insane." Emma's voice was firm, pointing at Rex. "He's gentle, Grace. Look at him." Rex's whine was low, amber eyes steady, his calm a stark contrast to the cub's distress. Sophie's voice was soft, to Rex. "You can help, can't you?" Grace's voice was tense, to Lucas. "This is madness, right?" Lucas's voice was thoughtful, checking a cub. "They'll die without a bond. Rex, might work." Grace's voice was a growl, pacing. "And if he hurts them?" Emma's voice was steady. "He won't. I've seen him with pups. Trust me." The smallest cub, with a white ear patch, mewed weakly, its siblings curling tighter, their hunger a silent scream. Grace's voice was raw to Emma. "One wrong move, and it's over." Emma's voice was calm, nodding. "I'll watch him, every second." Sophie's voice was a whisper, to Rex. "Please, save them." Rex's tail flicked, his black and tan frame rising, as if answering her call, a canine hero poised to defy nature. Grace's voice was sharp to Lucas. "Prep a room. We're doing this." They moved the cubs, Grace cradling the smallest, voice soft. "Hang on, little one." Rex followed, amber eyes alert, his presence a steady pulse. In a quiet room, Sophie watched, voice trembling. "Will they be okay?" Emma's voice was gentle, kneeling. "We're trying, Sophie." Grace's voice was tense, setting the cub down. "Rex, easy now." Rex's nose twitched, sniffing, his massive head lowering, a gentle whine escaping. The twist hit like a spark. Rex licked the cub, his tongue soft, curling around it like a mother. The cub's hiss fading to a purr. Grace's voice was a gasp, stepping back. "No way." Lucas's voice was stunned, frozen. "He's..." Nursing them? Sophie's voice was a squeal, clapping. He loves them. The cub nestled closer, its siblings stirring, drawn to Rex's warmth. A canine miracle unfolding, inspired by real interspecies adoptions. Emma's voice was choked, tears welling. It's working. The payback hit with a chuckle. A volunteer, rushing to record, tripped over a crate, their voice a yelp. Dang it! Sophie's voice was a giggle to Rex. You're a mommy now. Grace's voice was raw to Emma. This changes everything. Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes locked on the cubs, his heart a bridge across species. The hills loomed, Silverwood's secrets stirring, and Sophie's faith in Rex was a spark that could save 3 lives or ignite a battle no one saw coming. The Silverwood Sanctuary basked in a Colorado dusk, its pine-clad hills cloaked in amber, the air sharp with cedar and damp earth. The clinic's sterile glow cut through the twilight, a beacon of hope amid the sanctuary's quiet hum. Inside, Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek, lay in a corner, amber eyes dim, his massive frame curled tight. 3 bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, huddled in a heated crate, their spotted fur dull, mews faint, hunger gnawing their tiny bodies. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair loose, work dress rumpled, stood over them, voice low. To Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket worn. They're slipping, Emma. Rex didn't work. Emma's voice was tense, checking a cub's pulse. They nursed Grace. It's a start. Grace's voice was sharp, rubbing her brow. A start? They're starving. Rex's whine was soft, amber eyes flicking to the cubs, a canine guardian aching to help, inspired by real tales of dogs nurturing the lost. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair messy under a hoodie, peeked through the door, voice soft. Rex, look sad, Ms. Harper. Grace's voice was curt, spotting her. Sophie, go home with your dad. Sophie's voice was faint, lingering. Rex wants to help them. Emma's voice was gentle, kneeling. He's trying, kiddo. The cubs' plight, orphaned by poachers, their mother dead, hung heavy, their refusal to eat a silent death sentence. Grace's voice was raw to Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp, entering. Lucas, tell me there's something else. Lucas's voice was grim, examining Patch. Formulas failing. They need a mother's bond, or they're gone. Emma's voice was urgent, flipping through a file. Rex is their bond, Lucas. He's a rescue, just weaned his pups. He's still motherly. Grace's voice was sharp, incredulous. A dog mothering bobcats. That's a fantasy. Emma's voice was firm, pointing to Rex. He calmed them, Grace. Let's try again. Closer contact. Rex's tail flicked, sensing her resolve, amber eyes steady. A canine hero poised to defy nature's rules. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. You can do it, can't you? Grace's voice was tense to Emma. One bite, and we're done. Emma's voice was calm, nodding. I'll watch him every second. Lucas's voice was cautious to Grace. It's risky, but they're out of time. Grace's voice was a growl, pacing. Fine. But Sophie, you stay out. Sophie's voice was faint, nodding. Okay. But her eyes lingered, her heart tied to Rex's quiet strength. They moved to a padded room, Grace cradling Scout, voice soft. Hang on, little guy. Rex followed, paws silent, amber eyes alert. Emma's voice was steady, setting the cubs down. Rex, come. Rex's nose twitched, his massive head lowering, sniffing Rascal, the smallest cub, who hissed weakly. Grace's voice was a whisper, gripping Lucas's arm. "Here we go." Sophie, sneaking closer, watched, voice trembling. "Please, Rex." The twist hit like a thunderclap. Rex curled around the cubs, his black and tan frame a warm shield, licking them gently, their hisses fading to soft purrs. Patch, the white-eared cub, nuzzled his belly, suckling faintly, the others following. Grace's voice was a gasp, stepping back. "My God!" Lucas's voice was stunned, frozen. "They're nursing." Sophie's voice was a squeal, clapping. "He's their mommy." Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes locked on the cubs, a canine miracle unfolding, inspired by real interspecies adoptions. Emma's voice was choked, tears falling. "It's working." Grace's voice was raw to Lucas. "How's this possible?" Lucas's voice was soft, awed, instinct, and love. The cubs nestled closer, their tiny bodies warming, a spark of life rekindled. Sophie's voice was bright to Rex. "You're so brave." But the door creaked. Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest sharp, stepping in, voice slick. "Well, ain't this a show? Harper, we need to talk. Funding's tight." Grace's voice was cold, turning. "Not now, Tom." Tom's voice was smug, eyeing Rex. "That dog's a liability. Sell him or I pull my money." Emma's voice was sharp, glaring. "He's saving them, Hayes." Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her hoodie. "Don't take Rex." Rex's growl was low, amber eyes blazing, sensing the threat, a canine protector ready to stand firm. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom, distracted, knocked over a tray, syringes clattering, his voice a yelp. "Damn it!" Lucas's voice was dry, smirking. "Careful, Tom." Grace's voice was fierce to Tom. "Get out! Rex stays." Tom's voice was a snarl, retreating. "You'll regret this, Harper." Sophie's voice was soft to Rex, tears welling. "You're their family now." The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets deepening, and Sophie's trust in Rex was a spark that could save 3 lives, or ignite a war with Tom's greed. The Silverwood sanctuary shimmered under a Colorado dawn, its pine-draped hills glowing gold, the air crisp with dew and wildflowers. The sanctuary's heart, a sprawling haven of cedar barns and quiet trails, pulsed with life. But inside the clinic, a fragile miracle teetered. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek, lay in a padded enclosure, amber eyes soft, cradling 3 Bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, their spotted fur warm against him. Their tiny purrs filled the room, a stark contrast to days of silence. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair tied back, work vest worn, stood watching, voice low, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair, loose, field jacket scuffed. "They're eating, Emma." Rex did it. Emma's voice was warm, checking Patch's weight. "He's their mom now, Grace." Grace's voice was tense, rubbing her temples. "For how long?" "They're wild, not pets." Rex's whine was gentle, amber eyes flicking to the cubs, a canine guardian whose love defied nature, inspired by real tales of interspecies bonds. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair under a hoodie, slipped in, voice soft. "Rex looks happy, Ms. Harper." Grace's voice was sharp, turning. "Sophie, you shouldn't be here." Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her backpack. "I wanted to see them." Emma's voice was kind, kneeling. "They're stronger, thanks to Rex." The cubs, orphaned by poachers, their mother lost, had clung to death's edge until Rex's warmth revived them. Grace's voice was raw, to Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp, entering. Lucas, this can't last. Bobcats aren't dogs. Lucas's voice was calm, examining Scout. They're thriving, Grace. Let's not rush. The clinic hummed, volunteers bustling, the cub's survival a beacon of hope. Grace's voice was low, to Emma. Tom Hayes called. Wants a meeting. Says we're wasting funds on stunts. Emma's voice was sharp, glaring. Rex isn't a stunt. He's saving them. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. You're a hero, aren't you? Rex's tail flicked, amber eyes locked on her, sensing her quiet strength, a canine soul tethered to her heart. Outside, the sanctuary's trails wound through pines, its mission to heal wild creatures a lifeline for Colorado's wildlife. Grace, a veteran rescuer, had built Silverwood on her family's land, but dwindling funds and Tom's threats loomed large. Her voice was tense to Lucas. If Tom pulls his money, we're done. Lucas's voice was steady, jotting notes. Show him the cubs. They're proof we're doing good. Grace's voice was grim, nodding. He's coming tomorrow. Sophie lingered, voice faint, to Emma. Why's Mr. Hayes so mad? Emma's voice was gentle, adjusting Rascal's blanket. He doesn't understand, Sophie. But Rex'll show him. Grace's voice was firm to Sophie. Go find your dad, kid. This is no place for you. Sophie's voice was small, backing away. Okay. But her eyes stayed on Rex, her heart racing with a child's fierce hope. In the enclosure, Rex groomed Patch, his tongue careful, the cub purring softly. Grace's voice was soft to Emma. How's he doing this? Emma's voice was warm, smiling. Instinct. He's a rescuer, like us. Lucas's voice was thoughtful, checking Rascal. He's giving them what their mom would. Safety. Sophie's voice was a whisper from the doorway. He's their family now. Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes flicking to her, a K9 miracle-defying logic, inspired by real stories of dogs mothering the wild. The tension spiked. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, rushing in, voice urgent. Grace, Tom's here early. Grace's voice was a growl, standing. Now. He's pushing me. Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest sharp, strode in, voice slick. Nice circus, Harper. A dog raising cats? You're bleeding my funds dry. Grace's voice was cold, facing him. Rex saved them, Tom. That's our mission. Tom's voice was mocking, eyeing Rex. Your mission's a fantasy. Sell that dog, or I'm out. Emma's voice was fierce, stepping forward. He's not for sale, Hayes. Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her backpack. Don't take Rex. Rex's growl was low, amber eyes blazing, rising to shield the cubs, a K9 protector sensing danger. Lucas's voice was sharp to Tom. Back off, Tom. You're stressing them. Tom's voice was a snarl, pointing. You're all nuts. This place is done. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's phone slipped, cracking on the floor, his voice a yelp. Damn it. Sophie's voice was a giggle. To Emma. He's clumsy. Grace's voice was fierce to Tom. Get out, Hayes. We're keeping Rex. Tom's voice was venomous, retreating. You'll regret this, Harper. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex, tears welling. You're so brave. Emma's voice was warm, hugging her. He's got you, Sophie. The twist hit like a spark. Sophie's backpack fell open, revealing a crumpled photo. Her late mom, standing with a young Rex at Silverwood, a volunteer badge pinned to her shirt. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. Sophie! Your mom knew Rex? Sophie's voice was choked, nodding. She loved him. Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes locked on the photo, his massive frame trembling, a canine hero tied to Sophie's past, inspired by real tales of dogs remembering their first loves. Emma's voice was stunned to Grace. She's connected to him. Lucas's voice was soft, awed. No wonder she's drawn here. Grace's voice was raw to Sophie. Why didn't you tell me, kid? Sophie's voice was faint, tears falling. I didn't know. I just felt it. The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets unraveling, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that could save the cubs or fuel Tom's war against the sanctuary's heart. The Silverwood Sanctuary shimmered under a Colorado noon, its pine-studded hills basking in a crisp autumn glow, the air alive with the tang of cedar and fresh hay. The sanctuary's clinic was a hive of quiet hope, its sterile walls softened by the faint purrs of 3 Bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, nestled against Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek. His amber eyes glowed, a canine guardian cradling the cubs like his own, their spotted fur vibrant under his care, inspired by real tales of interspecies love. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair loose, work vest worn, watched through the observation window, voice low, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket scuffed, their thriving Emma. Rex is a miracle. Emma's voice was warm, scribbling notes. They've gained weight, Grace. He's their mom. Grace's voice was tense, folding her arms. For now. They're wild, not puppies. Rex's whine was soft, grooming Patch's white-eared head, his massive frame a shield, amber eyes alert. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair under a hoodie, sat cross-legged nearby, voice soft, sketching Rex. He loves them, Ms. Harper. Grace's voice was sharp, glancing over. Sophie, shouldn't you be with your dad? Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her crayon. He's working. I want to stay. Emma's voice was kind, smiling. She's quiet, Grace. Let her. The cubs, orphaned by poachers, had defied death thanks to Rex, but the sanctuary's fragile peace teetered. Grace's voice was low to Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp, entering. Lucas, Tom Hayes is coming today. Wants to cut our funds. Lucas's voice was grim, checking Rascal. Because of Rex? He's saving them. Grace's voice was raw, pacing. Tom sees a circus, not science. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. You're not a circus, are you? Rex's tail flicked, amber eyes flicking to her, sensing her worry. A canine hero anchoring the room. Emma's voice was urgent to Grace. Show Tom the data. Weight gains, vitals. It's real. Grace's voice was tense, nodding. He's here in an hour. Better be convincing. The sanctuary, a haven carved from Grace's family land, fought to save Colorado's wildlife, but Tom's threats loomed large. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, poked her head in, voice clipped. Grace, Tom's early, brought a lawyer. Grace's voice was a growl, standing. Already. He's playing dirty. Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest sharp, strode in, voice slick, flanked by a suit. Harper, this dog stunt's a joke. My money's not for fairy tales. Grace's voice was cold, facing him. Rex saved those cubs, Tom. That's our mission. Tom's voice was mocking, eyeing Rex. Your mission's bleeding me dry. Sell that mutt, or I'm pulling every dime. Emma's voice was fierce, stepping forward. He's not a mutt. He's their mother. Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her sketchbook. Don't take Rex. Rex's growl was low, amber eyes blazing, rising to guard the cubs, a canine protector sensing a threat. Lucas's voice was sharp to Tom. "Back off, Hayes." "You're stressing them." Tom's voice was a snarl, pointing. "You're all delusional. This place is done." Sophie's voice was trembling. To Emma, "He can't do that, can he?" Emma's voice was steady, squeezing her shoulder. "We won't let him, Sophie." The cubs stirred, Patch mewing, sensing the tension, Rex's whine soothing them, his black and tan frame a fortress. Grace's voice was fierce to Tom. "Get out, or I'll call the board." Tom's voice was venomous, leaning in. "You'll beg me when this flops, Harper." The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's lawyer tripped over a chair, papers flying, Tom's voice a yelp. "Watch it, Carl." Clara's voice was dry, smirking. "Smooth, Tom." Sophie's voice was a giggle. To Rex, "You scared him." Tom stormed out, his lawyer scrambling, leaving a tense silence. Inside, Emma's voice was urgent to Grace. "We need proof. Videos, logs. Rex's bond is our defense." Grace's voice was raw, nodding. "Start recording. Every moment." Lucas's voice was calm to Sophie. "Want to help, kid?" "Watch the cubs with me." Sophie's voice was bright, nodding. "Yeah." She sat closer, voice soft to Patch. "You're safe with Rex." Rex's amber eyes softened, grooming Scout, the cubs purring, a fragile family thriving against odds. The tension spiked, Clara rushing back, voice shaky. "Grace, found something in storage." She held a dusty journal, pages yellowed, labeled Silverwood Volunteers 2018. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. "What's this?" Clara's voice was urgent, flipping it open. "It's Sophie's mom's, Evie Miller. She worked with Rex." Emma's voice was stunned, reading, "She trained him as a therapy dog for wildlife." The twist hit like a thunderclap. A photo slipped out, Evie smiling, holding a young Rex, a bobcat cub at her feet. Grace's voice was choked, staring. "Evie rescued Rex and worked with bobcats?" Sophie's voice was faint, touching the photo, tears welling. "That's Mommy." Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes locked on Sophie, his massive frame trembling. A canine hero tied to her mother's legacy, inspired by real tales of dogs bridging past and present. Lucas's voice was soft, awed. He knew her. That's why he trusts Sophie. Emma's voice was urgent to Grace. "This changes everything, Grace. Sophie's part of this." Grace's voice was raw to Sophie. "Why didn't you show us this?" Sophie's voice was choked, shaking her head. "I didn't know. I found it in Dad's stuff." Clara's voice was warm, hugging her. "Your mom's with us, kid." Rex's growl was gentle, nudging Sophie's hand, amber eyes blazing, a canine guardian sensing her pain. Grace's voice was steady to Emma. "Tom's wrong. This isn't a stunt. It's a legacy." Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. "You loved Mommy too, didn't you?" The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets unraveling, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that could save the cubs, or fuel Tom's campaign to tear the sanctuary apart. The Silverwood sanctuary crackled under a Colorado dusk, its pine-draped hills shrouded in an eerie orange glow, the air thick with acrid smoke and the roar of distant flames. A wildfire, sparked in the nearby ridges, raged closer, casting flickering shadows across the sanctuary's cedar barns. Inside the clinic, Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek, stood guard over 3 bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, their spotted fur fluffed in fear, tiny bodies pressed against his warmth. His amber eyes blazed, a canine sentinel ready to protect, inspired by real tales of dogs defying danger. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair tangled under a hoodie, clutched Rex's collar, voice trembling. "Rex, we gotta go." Grace Harper, 58, silver hair loose, work vest singed, barked orders, voice sharp to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair matted, field jacket torn. "Emma, get the Cubs crate." Emma's voice was frantic, grabbing a carrier. "It's too close, Grace." The fire's heat pressed in, windows glowing red, the sanctuary's animals howling in panic. Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat soot-streaked, rushed in, voice urgent. "Evacuate now." "The fire's jumping the ridge." Grace's voice was raw, grabbing a radio. "Clara? Where's the truck?" Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater dusty, shouted from the yard, voice strained. "Loading the deer, Grace! 5 minutes!" Sophie's voice was a cry, tugging Rex. "The Cubs, Miss Harper!" Rex's growl was fierce, amber eyes locked on the Cubs, nudging Patch, the white-eared cub, toward the crate, his instincts honed from rescuing Sophie's mother years ago. Grace's voice was tense to Sophie. "Stay with Emma, kid." Sophie's voice was choked, shaking her head. "I'm helping Rex." The sanctuary, a haven for Colorado's wildlife, faced its darkest hour. Rex's miracle, mothering the orphaned cubs, had defied nature, but Tom Hayes's threats to cut funding and the journal linking Rex to Sophie's mom, Evie, had stirred tensions. Now, fire threatened to erase it all. Emma's voice was sharp, shoving Cubs into the crate. "They're scared, Grace." Lucas's voice was grim, checking Rascal. "They'll survive if we move fast." A blast of heat shattered a window, glass raining, flames licking the clinic's roof. Grace's voice was a roar. "Out now!" Sophie's voice was a scream, pulling Rex. "Come on!" Rex barked, a canine command, scooping Scout in his jaws, gentle but firm, darting for the door. Emma's voice was frantic, grabbing the crate. "Sophie, follow me!" The Cubs mewed, their tiny bodies jostling, Rex's amber eyes fierce, leading the charge, a guardian defying the inferno. Outside, the yard was chaos, volunteers hauling cages, animals shrieking, smoke choking the air. Clara's voice was hoarse, waving. "Trucks ready." Grace's voice was tense, to Lucas. "Get the Cubs loaded." Lucas's voice was urgent, helping Emma. "Where's Sophie?" Sophie's voice was faint, coughing. "Here!" She stumbled, Rex at her side, his black and tan frame shielding her, Patch and Rascal safe in the crate, Scout still in his jaws. A tree exploded nearby, embers raining, the fire's roar deafening. Grace's voice was raw, spotting Tom Hayes's truck screeching up. "What's he doing here?" Tom, 50, gray hair, vest soot-stained, leaped out, voice shaken. "Saw the smoke, Harper. Need help?" Grace's voice was cold, glaring. "You caused this, didn't you?" Tom's voice was desperate, hands raised. "No, I swear." Emma's voice was sharp to Grace. "We need him, Grace." "Let him load cages." Sophie's voice was trembling to Rex. "Keep them safe, boy." Rex's whine was fierce, placing Scout in the crate, amber eyes locked on the flames, a canine hero ready to fight. Lucas's voice was urgent to Tom. "Help or get out." Tom's voice was strained, grabbing a deer crate. "I'm helping." The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's vest caught on a fence, ripping, his voice a yelp. "Damn it!" Sophie's voice was a giggle, despite the fear. "He's messy." The fire surged, a wall of flame cutting off the main path. Grace's voice was a shout. "Back trail, now!" Emma's voice was frantic, lifting the Cubs' crate. "It's too narrow for the truck." Sophie's voice was clear, pointing. "Rex knows the way." Rex barked, amber eyes blazing, sprinting toward a hidden trail, Sophie running behind, voice calling, "Follow him!" Grace's voice was stunned to Lucas. "She's right." Lucas's voice was tense, grabbing gear. Go, go! The trail twisted through pines, smoke blinding, heat searing. Rex's paws pounded, guiding Sophie, who clutched her mom's locket, voice soft. You're like Mommy, Rex. Emma's voice was breathless, carrying the crate. Keep up, Sophie! Grace's voice was raw to Tom, trailing. Move it, Hayes! Tom's voice was choked, coughing. I'm trying! Rex's growl was steady, amber eyes cutting through the haze, a canine compass leading them to a clearing, inspired by real tales of dogs saving lives in crises. They burst into safety, the fire's roar fading, the clearing cool with mountain air. Sophie's voice was a sob, hugging Rex. You did it! Rex's whine was deep, nudging the crate, amber eyes locked on the cubs, who mewed softly, unharmed. Grace's voice was choked, pulling Sophie close. You're brave, kid. Emma's voice was warm, checking the cubs. They're okay. Lucas's voice was stunned, to Tom. You helped. Why? The twist hit like a thunderclap. Tom's voice was broken, dropping a singed photo. Found this. It's Evie, Sophie's mom. I knew her, Grace. She saved my dog once. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. You knew Evie? Tom's voice was faint, tears falling. Yeah, I owed her. This fire. I didn't start it, but I pushed you too hard. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. Mommy sent you, didn't she? Rex's whine was fierce, amber eyes blazing, a canine hero tied to a legacy of rescue, inspired by real tales of past debts repaid. Grace's voice was raw to Tom. You're not off the hook, Hayes. Tom's voice was steady, nodding. I'll make it right. The hills loomed, Silverwood secrets burning bright, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that saved the cubs. But could it shield the sanctuary from Tom's tangled past? The Silverwood sanctuary simmered under a Colorado dawn, its pine-draped hills cloaked in a misty glow, the air sharp with cedar and damp earth. The clinic's quiet hum masked a brewing storm, its sterile walls echoing the soft purrs of 3 Bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, curled against Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat sleek. His amber eyes flickered, a canine guardian cradling his adopted cubs, their spotted fur vibrant under his care, inspired by real tales of interspecies bonds. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair pulled back, work vest worn, stood over a desk, voice tense, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair loose, field jacket scuffed. Tom's confession changes nothing, Emma. He's still a threat. Emma's voice was sharp, clutching a recorder. He admitted pushing us, Grace. Sophie's tape proves it. Grace's voice was grim, rubbing her temples. He didn't start the fire, but he's tied to it. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair under a hoodie, sat nearby, voice soft, sketching Rex. He won't hurt Rex, will he? Rex's whine was gentle, amber eyes locked on her, sensing her fear, a canine hero tied to her mother's legacy, revealed through a journal and photo. Grace's voice was warm, kneeling by Sophie. We'll protect him, kid. Emma's voice was urgent to Doctor. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp, entering. Lucas, the cubs are too attached to Rex. What's next? Lucas's voice was calm, checking Patch. They're 6 months, weaning. We need to separate them soon. Wild instincts are kicking in. Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her crayon. Separate them. But they love Rex. The sanctuary, a haven for Colorado's wildlife, reeled from the wildfire that nearly destroyed it. Rex's heroics, saving the cubs with Sophie, had cemented their bond, but Tom Hayes's admission of pressuring Grace and his link to Sophie's mom, Evie, stirred suspicion. Grace's voice was low to Emma. Tom's hiding something. That fire wasn't random. Emma's voice was tense, nodding. He's in debt. Maybe he needed the land cleared. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, burst in, voice shaky. Grace, sheriff's here. Tom's talking to them. Grace's voice was a growl, standing. He's turning this on us. Sophie's voice was trembling to Rex. You're safe, right? Rex's growl was low, amber eyes blazing, nudging Rascal, protective, a canine anchor in the chaos. Lucas's voice was sharp to Grace. Show the sheriff Sophie's tape. It's evidence. Outside, Sheriff Dan Cole, 50, gray hair, badge glinting, stood with Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest rumpled, voice slick. Grace, Tom says your dog's a risk, endangering the town. Grace's voice was cold, facing him. He's lying, Dan. Rex saved those cubs. Tom's voice was desperate, hands raised. I'm not the bad guy. I pushed too hard, sure, but I didn't torch the place. Emma's voice was fierce, holding the recorder. Listen to this, Sheriff. The tape played, Tom's voice, smug. Harper needs to sell, or we'll make it tough. Dan's voice was stern, glaring at Tom. This is coercion, Hayes. Tom's voice was choked, stepping back. I was broke, okay? I owed people, bad people. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. He's scared, like you were. Rex's whine was deep, amber eyes locked on her, a canine judge of truth, inspired by real tales of dogs sensing remorse. Grace's voice was raw to Tom. Who'd you owe, Tom? Tom's voice was faint, tears falling. Loan sharks. They wanted the land. I didn't know they'd burn it. Emma's voice was sharp to Dan. He's complicit, Sheriff. Dan's voice was gruff, nodding. You're coming with me, Hayes. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's wallet fell, cash fluttering, his voice a yelp. Damn it. Sophie's voice was a giggle to Emma. He's always dropping stuff. Inside, Lucas's voice was urgent to Grace. The cubs need a weaning plan, fire or not. Grace's voice was tense to Emma. They're too dependent on Rex, it's risky. Sophie's voice was a cry, standing. You can't take them away, they're his babies. Rex's growl was soft, nudging Scout, amber eyes steady, his maternal bond a lifeline. Emma's voice was gentle to Sophie. We'll do it slowly, kid. They need to be wild. The tension spiked, Clara rushing in, voice breathless. Grace, found Evie's old files in storage. She held a worn notebook, pages scrawled with Evie's notes. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. Sophie's mom? Clara's voice was urgent, flipping it open. She studied dog-wildlife bonds, worked with Rex on therapy. Emma's voice was stunned, reading, Rex calms stressed animals, potential for orphans. The twist hit like a thunderclap. A hidden letter fell, Evie's, addressed to Grace. If I'm gone, let Sophie care for Rex. He's her heart. Grace's voice was choked, tears welling. Evie planned this. Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her locket. Mommy wanted me with him? Rex's whine was fierce, pressing against Sophie, amber eyes blazing. A canine hero, fulfilling Evie's wish, inspired by real tales of legacies enduring. Lucas's voice was soft, awed. She knew Rex could save them. And Sophie. Grace's voice was raw to Sophie. Your mom's guiding us, kid. Emma's voice was urgent to Lucas. This proves Rex's role. Tom can't touch him. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex, tears falling. You're Mommy's gift, aren't you? Rex's tail wagged, amber eyes locked on her, his black and tan frame a bridge to the past. Clara's voice was warm to Grace. Evie's still here, through them. Grace's voice was steady to Emma. Get those files to the board. Tom's done. Sophie's voice was bright to Patch. You'll grow big with Rex, won't you? The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets unraveling, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that could save the cubs, or ignite a reckoning with Tom's dangerous debts. The Silverwood sanctuary glowed under a Colorado twilight, its pine-draped hills cloaked in a soft purple haze, the air crisp with frost and the faint scent of cedar. The clinic's sterile walls hummed with tension, the soft purrs of 3 Bobcat cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, barely audible as they sprawled in their enclosure, their spotted fur sleek but restless. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat scarred, sat vigilant, amber eyes dim, his massive frame tense, a canine guardian sensing a shift, inspired by real tales of interspecies devotion. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair loose, work vest worn, stood over a clipboard, voice strained, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket dusty. We start weaning tomorrow, Emma. They're too dependent on Rex. Emma's voice was sharp, clutching a feeding log. They're not ready, Grace. They panic without him. Grace's voice was grim, rubbing her brow. They're 6 months old, Emma. Wildcats, not pets. Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair under a hoodie, sat cross-legged by the enclosure, voice soft, stroking Patch's ear. They love Rex, Ms. Harper. Rex's whine was low, amber eyes locked on Sophie, his bond with her mother, Evie, a lifeline revealed through a journal, now fueling their fight. Grace's voice was gentle, kneeling by Sophie. I know, kid, but they need to be free. Emma's voice was urgent, to Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat crisp, entering. Lucas, their vitals spike when Rex leaves. It's dangerous. Lucas's voice was calm, checking Scout. Weaning's gradual, Emma. Short separations, controlled settings. Sophie's voice was faint, tears welling. You'll take Rex away? Rex's growl was soft, nudging her hand, amber eyes blazing, a canine hero anchoring her heart. The sanctuary, a haven for Colorado's wildlife, stood shaken after the wildfire and Tom Hayes's confession of coercion tied to loan sharks. Sophie's tape and Evie's journal had exposed his schemes, but the cub's future hung in the balance. Grace's voice was tense to Lucas. Tom's in custody, but his board's still pushing. We need the cubs stable to prove our worth. Lucas's voice was grim, nodding. If they crash without Rex, we lose everything. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, rushed in, voice urgent. Grace, the board's here, demanding a report. Grace's voice was a growl, standing. Now, they're circling. Emma's voice was fierce, grabbing a tablet. Show 'em the videos. Rex nursing, cubs thriving. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. You're our star, boy. Rex's tail flicked, amber eyes steady, sensing the stakes, his role as a canine mother defying nature's rules. Outside, the board, led by Ellen Ward, 50s, sharp suit, waited, voices clipped. Ellen's voice was stern to Grace. Your budget's a mess, Harper's. This dog experiment's reckless. Grace's voice was cold, meeting her gaze. Rex saved those cubs, Ellen. Watch. Emma's voice was clear, playing footage. See their growth. Rex is their lifeline. Sophie stood close, voice small. He's their mom. Ellen's voice was skeptical, eyeing Rex. A dog raising bobcats? It's a liability. The tension spiked, Lucas's voice sharp, to Ellen. They're healthy because of him. Separation's the next step. Grace nodded, voice firm. We start today, 2 hours apart. Sophie's voice was a cry, clutching her locket. No! They'll be scared! Rex's growl was low, amber eyes blazing, nudging rascal, protective, a canine guardian torn by duty. Emma's voice was gentle to Sophie. We'll be careful, kid. They moved Rex to a nearby barn, his paws dragging, amber eyes glancing back. Grace's voice was tense to Lucas. Monitor the cubs, every second. Emma led Sophie inside, voice soft. Stay with me, Sophie. The cubs, sensing Rex's absence, paced, Patch's mews turning shrill, Scout clawing the walls, Rascal curling tight. Sophie's voice was choked, watching. They're so sad. Lucas's voice was grim, checking vitals. Stress levels are spiking. An hour passed, the cubs' cries piercing. Grace's voice was raw to Emma. This is failing. Emma's voice was urgent, grabbing her phone. Check Rex! In the barn, Rex howled, paws bloodied from scratching the door, his amber eyes wild, a canine mother in agony. Sophie's voice was a sob, running to him. Rex! Grace's voice was sharp, catching her. Sophie, stop! But Sophie hugged Rex, voice crying, He needs them! The twist hit like a thunderclap. Sophie's locket popped open, revealing a tiny note, Evie's handwriting. Rex saved me from a fire 2018. He's family. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. Evie, survived a fire with Rex? Emma's voice was stunned, reading, She trained him for crisis response. That's why he saved the cubs. Sophie's voice was faint, tears falling. Mommy sent him to us. Rex's whine was fierce, pressing against her, amber eyes blazing, a canine hero carrying Evie's legacy, inspired by real tales of dogs defying odds. Lucas's voice was urgent to Grace. Bring Rex back, now. Grace's voice was choked, nodding. Do it. Rex bounded to the clinic, bursting in, the cubs swarming him, purring thunderously, their distress fading. Sophie's voice was bright, laughing. They're happy. Patch nuzzled Rex's belly, Scout and Rascal curling close, amber eyes locked on their canine mother. Emma's voice was warm to Ellen. See. He's their anchor. Ellen's voice was stunned, softening. Incredible. Clara's voice was breathless, rushing in. Grace, Tom's out. Posted bail. Grace's voice was a growl to Lucas. He'll come for us. Tom's truck screeched up, his voice strained, stepping out. Harper, I'm done fighting. Let me help. Fund the cubs. Grace's voice was cold, glaring. Why now, Hayes? Tom's voice was broken, holding a check. Evie, she'd want this. I'm sorry. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's shoe sank in mud, his voice a yelp. Damn it. Sophie's voice was a giggle to Rex. He's trying, like you. Sophie's voice was soft to Rex. You're Mommy's hero, aren't you? Grace's voice was raw to Tom. Prove it, Hayes. No tricks. Rex's growl was gentle, amber eyes locked on the cubs, his black and tan frame a bridge across pain. The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets burning brighter, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that could save the cubs or test Tom's fragile redemption. The Silverwood sanctuary lay hushed under a Colorado dawn, its pine-draped hills cloaked in a frosty mist, the air sharp with cedar and the faint tang of snow. The clinic's sterile glow pierced the quiet, its walls echoing the weak mews of Scout, a bobcat cub, now 6 months old, his spotted fur dull, body curled in a quarantine crate. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat scarred, paced outside, amber eyes frantic, his massive frame trembling, a canine mother torn by grief, inspired by real tales of interspecies devotion. Sophie Miller, 6, Brown hair loose under a hoodie, pressed her face to the crate, voice breaking. "Scout, you gotta fight, buddy." Grace Harper, 58, silver hair disheveled, work vest worn, stood over a chart, voice strained, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair matted, field jacket creased. "He's not eating, Emma." Infections winning. Emma's voice was tense, clutching a syringe. "Antibiotics aren't working, Grace. He's too weak." Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat rumpled, checked Scout's vitals, voice grim. "He's shutting down. Without Rex, he's got no will." Sophie's voice was a sob to Rex. "Help him, please." Rex's whine was raw, paws scratching the crate, amber eyes locked on Scout, his bond with the cubs, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, unshakable since their rescue from poachers. The sanctuary, a haven for Colorado's wildlife, had survived a wildfire, Tom Hayes's coercion, and a failed weaning attempt, but Scout's sudden illness threatened to break them. Grace's voice was raw to Lucas. "We can't lose him, not after everything." Lucas's voice was steady, injecting Scout. "Rex is our shot." "Let him in." Emma's voice was urgent to Grace. "It's risky. Scout could lash out." Grace's voice was fierce, nodding. "Do it. He's dying." Sophie's voice was soft, opening the crate. "Rex, go to him." Rex bounded in, his black and tan frame gentle, nudging Scout, amber eyes blazing, a canine mother refusing to let go, inspired by real tales of dogs reviving the hopeless. Scout's mew was faint, his body limp, but Rex licked his face, a soft whine urging him to fight. The clinic buzzed, volunteers whispering the cubs' plight a weight on all. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, stood by, voice shaky. "Grace, Tom's here, wants to help." Grace's voice was cold, turning. "Help? After his stunts?" Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest worn, stepped in, voice low. "I'm clean, Harper." "Brought supplies, meds, food." Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her locket. "He's nice now, Ms. Harper." Tom's voice was choked to Sophie. "For you, kid, and Evie." Grace's voice was tense to Tom. "Prove it, Hayes." "No tricks." Tom's voice was steady, handing Lucas a box. "Antibiotics, top grade, use 'em." Lucas's voice was sharp, checking the labels. "These could work, if Scout eats." Emma's voice was desperate to Rex. "Come on, boy, get him to try." Rex's whine was deep, nudging a bowl of medicated broth toward Scout, amber eyes pleading, his maternal instinct a beacon in the dark. The tension spiked, Scout's breathing shallow, his siblings, Patch and Rascal, mewing from their crate, sensing his pain. Sophie's voice was a cry to Scout. "You're strong, like Rex." Grace's voice was raw to Lucas. "Anything?" Lucas's voice was grim, watching. "He's not responding." Rex's growl was soft, lying beside Scout, his warmth a lifeline, but the cub's eyes dulled, life slipping away. A truck screeched outside, Clara's voice urgent. "Grace, it's the board. Ellen's demanding answers." Ellen Ward, 50s, sharp suit, stormed in, voice clipped. "Harper, this is chaos. One sick cub and you're gambling on a dog." Grace's voice was fierce, glaring. "Rex is saving him, Ellen." Sophie's voice was trembling to Ellen. "He's their mom." Rex's amber eyes flicked to Sophie, his black and tan frame steady, a canine hero defying doubt. Emma's voice was sharp to Ellen. "Look at Scout's vitals, stable with Rex." Ellen's voice was skeptical, crossing her arms. "If he dies, funding's cut." Tom's voice was urgent, stepping forward. "I'll cover costs, Ellen. Let them try." Grace's voice was stunned to Tom. "You're serious?" Tom's voice was firm, nodding. "For Evie's kid, The payback hit with a chuckle. Ellen's heel caught on a crate, stumbling, her voice a yelp. "Damn it!" Sophie's voice was a giggle. To Emma, "She's wobbly." The twist hit like a thunderclap. Sophie's locket fell open, revealing a hidden photo. Evie, holding a young Sophie. Rex beside a burning barn, 2018. Grace's voice was a gasp, grabbing it. "Rex, saved Evie from a fire?" Emma's voice was stunned, reading a note inside. "Rex pulled me from flames. He's Sophie's guardian." Sophie's voice was choked, tears falling. "Mommy knew he'd save us." Rex's whine was fierce, pressing against Scout, amber eyes blazing, a canine hero whose past rescue fueled his fight, inspired by real tales of dogs defying death. Lucas's voice was urgent to Grace. "He's eating." Scout lapped the broth, Rex's warmth coaxing him, his spotted fur twitching, life returning. Sophie's voice was bright, clapping, "You did it, Rex." Patch and Rascal mewed, pressing against their crate, sensing hope. Grace's voice was choked. To Tom, "You're in, Hayes." Tom's voice was soft, tears welling. "Thanks, Harper." Emma's voice was warm. To Sophie, "Your mom's with us, kid." Ellen's voice was stunned, watching. "This changes things." Grace's voice was firm. To Lucas, "Keep Rex with him, full time." Rex's growl was gentle, curling around Scout, amber eyes locked on Sophie, his black and tan frame a bridge across loss. The hills stood silent, Silverwood's secrets burning bright, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that revived Scout. But could it hold against the board's looming verdict? The Silverwood sanctuary sparkled under a Colorado spring, its pine-draped hills blooming with wildflowers, the air sweet with cedar and fresh grass. The sanctuary's heart, now a thriving haven, pulsed with new life, its cedar barns bustling with volunteers. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat gleaming, trotted through a spacious enclosure, amber eyes bright, guiding 3 young bobcats, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, now 9 months old, their spotted fur sleek, tawny eyes sharp. Grace Harper, 58, silver hair loose, work vest crisp, stood at the fence, voice warm. To Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket worn. "They're ready, Emma. The preserve's perfect." Emma's voice was soft, watching Rex. "He's still their mom, Grace." "This move, it's big." Sophie Miller, 6, brown hair in pigtails, sundress bright, ran up, voice joyful. "Rex, you're so strong." Rex's whine was gentle, nudging Sophie, amber eyes locked on her. A canine hero whose bond with her mother, Evie, had saved the cubs, inspired by real tales of interspecies families. Grace's voice was tender, kneeling. "You're part of this, Sophie." The sanctuary had weathered a wildfire, Tom Hayes' schemes and Scout's near death. But Rex's miracle, mothering the orphaned cubs, had forged a new path. Evie's journal, revealing Rex's past rescues, and Tom's redemption had secured funding, but the cubs' wild instincts demanded a larger home. Emma's voice was urgent. To Dr. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat, neat. "Lucas, the preserve's habitat is ideal, but separating them from Rex?" Lucas's voice was calm, checking Rascal's ear tag. "Gradual transition. Rex stays close, but they'll roam free." Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her locket. "They won't forget Rex, will they?" Rex's growl was soft, guiding Patch through a log tunnel, amber eyes steady, a canine mother preparing his cubs for independence. Grace's voice was warm to Sophie. "They'll always love him, kid." The enclosure buzzed, volunteers prepping crates for the move to Mountain Wildlife Preserve, a sprawling Colorado facility. Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose, organized gear, voice steady. "Grace, Maria's ready." She'll house Rex. Maria Lopez, 30, dark hair, ranger uniform, arrived, voice warm. He'll live with me, Sophie, but see the cubs daily. Sophie's voice was bright, hugging Rex. You'll like her, boy. The tension spiked. Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest pressed, approaching, voice hesitant. Grace, I'm volunteering for the move. Grace's voice was wary, crossing her arms. Why, Tom? You're clear of debt. Tom's voice was soft, eyes down. For Evie. I let her down once, not again. Emma's voice was sharp to Tom. Prove it, Hayes. No stunts. Sophie's voice was soft to Tom. Rex trusts you now. Rex's whine was gentle, nudging Tom's hand, amber eyes forgiving, a canine bridge across old wounds. Grace's voice was steady to Tom. Help load the crates. Earn it. Tom's voice was grateful, nodding. I will. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's clipboard slipped, papers scattering, his voice a yelp. Damn it! Sophie's voice was a giggle to Emma. He's clumsy. The cubs pounced playfully, their wild instincts blooming, Rex watching, amber eyes proud, guiding them with a soft growl, inspired by real tales of canine mentors. The move began at dusk, the sanctuary's trails alive with purpose. Sophie rode in the van, voice soft, to Rex, You're their hero, boy. Rex's amber eyes glowed, his black and tan frame calm beside the cubs' crates, Patch mewing softly, Scout and Rascal pacing. Emma's voice was tense to Lucas. They're stressed. Rex is key. Lucas's voice was steady, driving. Maria's habitat's ready. 3 acres, natural terrain. The mountain wildlife preserve loomed under starlight, its rocky slopes vast, enclosures mimicking wild plains. Maria's voice was warm, greeting them. Welcome home, Rex. Sophie's voice was bright, leaping out. It's huge. The cubs' crate opened, Patch bounding free, Scout and Rascal following, their tawny eyes wide, exploring logs and caves, Rex trailing, amber eyes vigilant, a canine mother ensuring safety. Grace's voice was choked to Emma. They're where they belong. The twist hit like a thunderclap. Maria's voice was urgent, pulling Grace aside, holding a faded collar. Found this in storage, Rex's old tag from Evie's rescue. Grace's voice was a gasp, reading it, Hero 2018. He saved Evie from a crash, not a fire. Emma's voice was stunned, grabbing it. Evie trained him. For Sophie. Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her locket. Mommy chose him for me? Rex's whine was fierce, pressing against her, amber eyes blazing, a canine guardian fulfilling a mother's plan, inspired by real tales of dogs as legacies. Lucas's voice was awed to Grace. Evie knew Sophie'd need him. Sophie's voice was choked, tears falling. You're my family, Rex. The cubs returned, purring, curling by Rex, their bond shifting to companionship. Wild yet tethered. Maria's voice was warm to Sophie. You'll visit, right? Sophie's voice was bright, nodding. Every weekend. Tom's voice was soft to Grace. I'm staying, Harper, for this. Grace's voice was raw to Tom. You're in, Hayes. Emma's voice was steady to Lucas. We're building something bigger, aren't we? Lucas's voice was warm, smiling. A new sanctuary, with Rex at its heart. Rex's growl was gentle, amber eyes locked on Sophie, his black and tan frame, a beacon of love. The hills stood silent, Silverwood's legacy reborn, and Sophie's bond with Rex was a spark that built a new home. But could it endure the cubs' wild future? The Silverwood Sanctuary burst with life under a Colorado summer sun, its pine-draped hills alive with wildflowers, the air sweet with cedar and warm earth. The sanctuary, now a beacon of hope, hosted its first Wild Hearts Day, a festival sprawling across its meadows, vibrant with colorful banners proclaiming Love knows no bounds. Townsfolk pack the grounds, their cheers mingling with the playful growls of animals and the hum of joy. Sophie Miller, now 7, brown hair in a braid, blue sundress fluttering, stood on a stage, voice clear, holding a ribbon. Rex, you're our hero. Rex, a German shepherd, black and tan coat, scarred but radiant, pranced beside her, amber eyes gleaming, a service vest adorned with a silver badge. Silverwood Guardian. He nudged 3 young bobcats, Patch, Scout, and Rascal, now a year old, their spotted fur, sleek, tawny eyes sharp, weaving through an obstacle course, a canine leader guiding his adopted cubs, inspired by real tales of interspecies families. Grace Harper, 59, silver hair loose, work vest crisp, clapped from the crowd, voice warm, to Emma Carter, 22, blonde hair tied back, field jacket neat. Look at her, Emma, she's shining. Emma's voice was choked, smiling. She's our heart, Grace. Doctor. Lucas Bennett, 40, black hair, vet coat pressed, stood nearby, voice proud. And Rex, he's a legend. Sophie's voice was joyful, tossing a ball. Go, Rex. Rex bounded, returning it gently, amber eyes locked on her, a canine hero whose bond with her mother, Evie, had saved the cubs, forged a family, and rebuilt the sanctuary after fire, betrayal, and loss. The festival pulsed, booths offering canine treats, kids painting Rex Rules signs, the bobcats' playful pounces drawing gasps. Grace's voice was soft to Clara Evans, 60, brown hair, sweater loose. We survived, Clara, because of them. Clara's voice was warm, nodding. Evie's watching, Grace. Tom Hayes, 50, gray hair, vest casual, manned a donation booth, voice steady. Raised 10 grand, Harper. Grace's voice was stunned to Tom. You're sticking around, Hayes? Tom's voice was soft, smiling. For Evie's kid. I'm all in. The payback hit with a chuckle. Tom's donation jar tipped, coins spilling, his voice a yelp. Damn it! Sophie's voice was a giggle, running over. You're funny, Mr. Hayes. Rex's whine was gentle, nudging Tom's hand, amber eyes forgiving, a canine bridge across old wounds, his role as the cub's mother, now a community's pride. On stage, Sophie spoke, voice clear. Rex saved Patch, Scout, and Rascal when they were tiny. He's my mom's gift to me. The crowd hushed, eyes misty, her locket gleaming with Evie's photo. Rex sat, amber eyes locked on her, Patch purring at his side, Scout and Rascal lounging nearby, their wild grace tempered by love. Emma's voice was choked to Lucas. She's so brave. Lucas's voice was warm, nodding. Like Evie, the sanctuary had defied poachers, fire, and Tom's schemes, with Rex's heroics nursing the cubs, saving them from flames, reviving Scout, cemented by Evie's legacy. Their move to the Mountain Wildlife Preserve, with Rex living with Maria Lopez, had let the cubs thrive in a vast habitat, their bond with him evolving from dependency to friendship. Sophie's voice was bright to the crowd. They're big now, but Rex is still their family. Maria, 30, dark hair, ranger uniform, joined her, voice warm. Rex visits every day, Sophie. They're happy. Patch leaped, tackling a log, Scout and Rascal chasing, their tawny eyes gleaming, a testament to wild freedom. Grace's voice was raw to Clara. We did right, didn't we? Clara's voice was choked, hugging her. More than right, Grace. Tom's voice was soft to Emma. I'm funding their care. For good. The tension spiked. A ranger, Jake, 30, short hair, uniform dusty, rushing up, voice urgent. Grace, found something in the preserve's archives. He held a sealed envelope marked Evie Miller, 2018. Grace's voice was a gasp, tearing it open. Another letter? Emma's voice was stunned, reading, "If Sophie's with Rex, she'll heal. He's her strength, like he was mine." Sophie's voice was faint, clutching her locket. "Mommy wrote this for me." The twist hit like a thunderclap. The letter included a photo. Evie, pregnant with Rex, a bobcat cub in her arms, labeled Silverwood's first rescue. Grace's voice was choked to Sophie. "Your mom started this. She saved Rex for you." Sophie's voice was a sob, hugging Rex. "You're my mom's heart, boy." Rex's whine was fierce, amber eyes blazing, pressing against her, a canine hero fulfilling a mother's dream, inspired by real tales of legacies enduring across generations. The crowd roared, chanting, "Sophie!" "Rex!" Patch pounced on Scout, Rascal joining, their bond with Rex, a living mural painted across the meadow. Lucas's voice was warm to Maria. "They're wild, but they're family." Maria's voice was bright, smiling. "Always will be." Sophie's voice was clear to the crowd. "Rex taught me love is bigger than anything. He's our hero." Cheers erupted, cameras flashing, the festival a testament to their triumph. The message shone clear. Love transcends species, healing the deepest wounds, and one girl's bond with her dog could spark a community's rebirth. Sophie's story, rooted in real tales of interspecies devotion, was Silverwood's legacy, a testament to courage, trust, and the unbreakable ties that bind us. The meadow glowed under a setting sun, hope lingering, a promise of new beginnings. To everyone watching, Sophie and Rex's journey proves that love conquers all, uniting hearts across boundaries through bravery and trust. Share your story of a loyal pet or a moment of courage in the comments. What's your spark? Subscribe to Pawprints of Hope, join our community, and keep stories like theirs alive, showing that heroes with paws or hearts can change the world.